Have you ever noticed how two people can earn the same paycheck, live in the same city, even eat at the same cafes, yet one of them seems to always have extra money left over, while the other's stuck wondering where it all went? Let me ask you something. What would you do if you found an extra $1,000 sitting in your account right now? Would you throw it at your depths like a financial superhero, or would you invest it, imagining it'll grow while you sleep? Because that one decision, what you do with that extra money, could quietly shape your next 30 years. Maybe it's the difference between sipping coffee on a beach at 60 or still working overtime just to cover rent.
My name's Dan, and I'm here to talk about something we all deal with. Money. Not in a boring finance class kind of way, but in a real, everyday life kind of way. Because money touches everything. Your freedom, your choices, your peace of mind. And yet, most of us were never really taught how to manage it.
So today, I want to unpack one of the most confusing, misunderstood questions in personal finance. Should you pay off your debt first or invest your money instead? By the end of this episode, you'll not only know what's mathematically smarter, but also what's emotionally right for you. And if you've already tried and failed a few times, don't worry. We'll talk about how to recover too. The everyday crossroads, the universal dilemma. Every month, millions of people face this exact moment. You check your balance, and for once, there's money left over. And then it hits you. Should I be responsible and pay down my debts, or smart and invest it? Most people just go with a gut feeling. You know, that little voice that says, maybe I'll pay extra this month, or maybe I'll throw this into crypto. But here's the truth. Guessing your way through money is like driving in fog with no headlights. You might survive the ride, but you won't enjoy it. So let's clear the fog and start by understanding what's really at stake. The hidden power of paying off debt. When you pay off debt, you're not just reducing a bill, you're earning a return. It's like getting an invisible raise. If you have a credit card that charges 20% interest, every dollar you pay off is like earning a risk-free 20% return on that money. You can't find that kind of guaranteed growth anywhere else. Not in stocks, not in real estate, not even in your cousin's can't-miss business idea. So, yes, paying off high-interest debt is one of the most powerful investments you'll ever make. It just doesn't look like one. Leo's first big decision. This is Leo. He's 20, fresh out of college, finally got his first job, and after months of surviving on instant noodles and side gigs, he's got real money coming in. He's got a small car loan at 5% interest, and he's been watching investing videos nonstop. So he asks me, Dan, should I throw all my money into index funds or just crush this loan first? Now, if Leo pays off that loan early, he's locking in a 5% guaranteed return. But if he invests, he could earn 9 or 10% a year on average. So I tell him, Leo, you've got time on your side. Split it. Put half toward your debt and half into an index fund. You're not choosing one dream over the other, you're building both. That's how you learn balance before life forces you to do so. If this is making sense so far, hit that thumbs up. It helps more people learn smart money habits. And while you're at it, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We've got a lot more practical stuff coming. The thrill and risk of investing. The stock market, over long periods, has averaged about 9 to 10% annual returns. But it doesn't hand them out evenly. Some years it'll gift you 25%. Other years it'll snatch 30% away just to keep things spicy. So sure, investing can grow your money faster than paying off low-interest debt, but there's risk. And risk changes everything. Maya's mistake and recovery. Let me tell you about Maya. She's 25, smart, and full of ambition. She started investing $400 a month as soon as she got her first stable job. Everything was going great until the market took a nosedive. In just a few weeks, she saw her $8,000 portfolio drop to $6,000. Her stomach sank. She panicked. She sold everything, thinking she was protecting herself. But if she'd stayed calm and kept investing, by the following year, she not only recovered, but doubled her money. It was a painful lesson, but an important one. The market rewards patience, not panic. Now, Maya has automated her investments. She barely looks at her account anymore. She lets time do the work. Because as she told me later, my emotions used to cost me thousands. Now, automation protects me from myself.
The numbers behind the decision. Let's make this real with numbers. Imagine you've got a $350,000 mortgage at 4% interest, 30 years long. Your monthly payment's about $1,670. You somehow find an extra $1,000 a month. If you throw that $1,000 toward the mortgage, you'll pay it off in around 14 and a half years instead of 30, and save roughly $140,000 in interest. That's huge. But if you instead invest that same $1,000 each month for 30 years and earn an average of 9%, you'd end up with about $1.8 million. Even after paying full interest on your mortgage, you'd still have roughly $1.9 million in total wealth. That's an $800,000 difference, and all you did was change where the extra money went. Now, of course, that assumes the market behaves, you stay consistent, and you don't panic sell when things crash. Because remember, those assumptions, they're the fragile part of the math. The truth is, math is clean. Life isn't. Markets crash, jobs change, emergencies happen. That's why the best plan isn't the one that looks perfect on paper, it's the one you can stick to through real life. The hidden advantage. Inflation. Here's something most people don't realize. Inflation can actually work for you when you have fixed rate debt. Take that $1,670 mortgage payment. It feels heavy now, right? But in 20 years, when your salary's doubled and a cup of coffee costs $8, that same payment will feel small because inflation eats away at the value of your dollar. You're paying yesterday's loan with tomorrow's cheaper money. It's like paying off your debt using Monopoly cash, completely legal, and the bank can't do anything about it. That's why many smart investors aren't in a hurry to pay off low-interest, long-term debt. They'd rather let inflation quietly reduce its real cost over time while their investments grow. When debt turns ugly. Good debt versus bad debt. Now, don't get it twisted. Not all debt deserves patience. There's good debt, and there's ugly debt. Good debt helps you build something, like a mortgage or maybe a student loan at 4%. Ugly debt, that's credit cards charging you 22%. That's personal loans for things that depreciate faster than you can say monthly payment. If your debt is eating 18%, 22%, 25% a year, there's no investment that can safely beat that. That's financial quicksand. You've got to treat those like an emergency. Get them out of your life as fast as you can. That's where strategies like the debt avalanche come in, paying off the highest interest balances first, no matter the size. It's not as instantly gratifying as knocking out small debts, but long-term, it saves you thousands. Sarah's smart middle ground. Let's talk about Sarah. She's got a stable job, a small mortgage, and a student loan hanging around at 4.5%. She used to stress about whether to pay everything off early or start investing. So we built her a plan. 50-50. Half her extra money attacks the debt, half goes straight into an investment account. It's not extreme, it's not exciting, but it works. And you know what's even better? She sleeps well, because real wealth isn't just measured in dollars, it's measured in peace of mind. Sarah's story reminds me of something I wish more people understood. Money isn't about extremes. It's not go all in or go home. It's balance, rhythm, and patience. You don't have to choose between being safe and being smart. You can do both, and that's where most people quietly win over time. But of course, that balance only works if you protect yourself from the unexpected. The safety net, the emergency fund truth. Before you even think about paying off debt or investing, you need an emergency fund. And I know it sounds boring. It's not flashy. It won't double your money. But here's the thing. It keeps every other part of your plan from falling apart. Picture this. Your car breaks down, your roof leaks, or you lose your job for 3 months. Without savings, what happens? You pull out the credit card again, the same one you just finished paying off, and boom, you're right back at the start. A good rule of thumb, Keep 3 to 6 months of living expenses tucked safely in an account you don't touch. It's not a growth tool, it's a shield. Because wealth isn't built by avoiding problems, it's built by surviving them. Lucas and the curveball. Let's talk about Lucas. He's in his 40s, the picture of responsibility. Good job, house, investments, everything looks solid. Then his company downsized. In a single week, his paycheck vanished. But Lucas had a 6-month emergency fund. He didn't panic. He didn't touch his investments. He took his time, found a better job, and even used part of his savings to take a course that doubled his earning power. That's what an emergency fund really buys you. Not just security, but opportunity. And Lucas told me later that emergency fund was the first time I realized I'm not working for survival anymore. I'm working for freedom.
The tax twist, tax nuance. Now let's talk about the part almost nobody mentions when comparing debt versus investing, taxes. When you pay off your mortgage early, you might lose some tax deductions. And when you invest, your returns aren't entirely yours. Uncle Sam wants a piece too. That's where smart tools come in. Things like 401ks, Roth IRAs, or retirement plans. If your employer offers a 401k match, that's free money. Think about it. For every dollar you invest, they might give you 50 cents or even a full dollar. That's an instant 50 to 100% return. There's no world that's not worth it. So if you're skipping your 401k match to pay extra on a 4% mortgage, you're literally saying no to free wealth. Start with the match always. The psychology of money, the emotional trap. Let me ask you something. Have you ever made a money decision that felt right but didn't make sense? Like paying off a small loan even though you knew you should invest? Or investing even though you still owed money on your credit card? That's because personal finance isn't just math. It's emotion. Some people can't sleep knowing they owe money, even if the math says they're fine. Others are totally chill carrying a mortgage if it means their investments keep growing. Neither is wrong. But the worst thing you can do is jump back and forth, changing strategies every few months because of fear or trends. Consistency beats cleverness every time. That's what Maya learned after her early panic. That's what Lucas learned when life threw him a curveball. And that's what Leo's learning now, building slow and steady, not fast and flashy. Leo's small win. A year after Leo started his half-debt, half-invest plan, he called me again. He said, Dan, I didn't get rich, but I finally feel in control. His car's almost paid off, his small investment account's growing, and for the first time, he isn't living paycheck to paycheck. That's the real magic. Not overnight success, but steady momentum. And you know what? Momentum compounds faster than money. The framework, 3-step plan. So if you want a simple path forward, here's what I teach everyone. Step 1, kill the bad debt first. Anything with double-digit interest, that's your fire alarm. Attack it fast. Step 2, build your emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's your financial oxygen tank. Step 3, split the rest. Put some money toward low-interest debt and some toward investments. Once your high-interest stuff is gone, increase your investments gradually. That's it. Simple, flexible, sustainable. And if life throws a curveball, you just pause, protect, and pivot. That's how real people win with money. Not by chasing perfection, but by staying in the game. When things fall apart, failure scenarios, and rebuilding. But let's be honest, sometimes despite all our plans, we fail. We overspend. We miss payments. We panic sell. We make decisions that make sense in the moment but hurt in hindsight. And that's okay. The goal isn't to never fail, it's to bounce back faster every time. If you've fallen behind, start by regaining clarity. List your debts. Set up autopay. Save $1,000 as your quick emergency fund. Then rebuild. Slowly. One smart move at a time. You don't fix your financial life overnight. You fix it every day you choose to start again. I've met hundreds of people at different stages, from Leo just starting out, to Sarah balancing her mid-30s, to Lucas rebuilding in his 40s, and Maya learning to trust herself again. And I've realized something simple but powerful. Wealth isn't about numbers, it's about calm.
It's knowing you're okay even when things around you aren't. It's the freedom to choose, not just what you buy, but how you live. And whether you're paying off debt or investing for your future, every wise decision you make today is planting freedom for tomorrow. I'm Dan, and this was Pay Off Debt or Invest, the real answer. If this video helped you see money a little differently, share it with someone who might need to hear it too. You never know. One small story could be the spark that helps them finally take control of their finances. And I'd love to hear from you. What's your next move? Are you paying off debt or starting to invest? Drop it in the comments. Your idea might inspire someone else. Thank you for staying with me till the end. It really means a lot. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, remember, every small step you take today is shaping the freedom you'll enjoy tomorrow.